Welcome to Inside Straight. I'm Larry Mazza, your host. My wife Kelly, co-host, technician, manager. I say that every week. Is there anything else I got to add to that list that I've been forgetting? Agent.
Best friend.
Best friend. Entry. She enters all the data for us. So very, very integral to this show and the whole Inside Straight thing. Business, I guess is the word for it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We thank Brandon from First Pillar Productions, as always. He's got a great place here. If you're ever in Melbourne, you should check it out. It's a great studio for music, for podcasts, you name it, he does it. So let's get on to our comments. That's a good place to start. So we sort of roll from last week or things that were done or said.
Okay, Ken from Miami. Great call on the Dolphin game.
The Dolphin game was a great call. And I think Inside Straight gets all the credit for that one because there was no wise guy money on that game. Our handicapping came up and it said that Arizona, first of all, it would be a high-scoring game. Mm-hmm. Our comment was last team with the ball would win, and literally that happened. Arizona got the ball very late, minute to go, went down the field and won. That was a great tout because not only did we say Arizona money line points, we also hit the over. So that was a banner game. Thank you.
Okay, Buddy from New Jersey. Stop picking against the Indians. Indiana.
The Indians, they're not even anywhere.
I know.
I always pick the Indians. I love the Indians. I go against the Cowboys now. Indiana, yes. Well, that's a great comment, and it's a great little comment because you got to realize I had Indiana way before the touts, way before the odds maker. I had, for instance, the quarterback on Indiana as a 7.75. Right now I have him a 9. The way he's playing consistently, and 7.75 isn't bad. That's on a scale of 1 to 10. So he's almost in the top 20%. Nobody had him there. Nobody had him there. We did. So now it's all catching up, and his numbers, as I handicap, they're not the same big difference. Like even this week coming up, they have a game, I want to say it's Michigan State. We'll get there. It's a tough team, but not a great team. Michigan State, we'll talk about that later, but I also want to talk a little bit about handicap, and I'm going to do that at the end of this. So it is, it's hard for me to go against them, and I didn't for 5 games. The last 2, I couldn't endorse them because my numbers, it's catching up, and you're going to see they're going to burn money soon.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry from New York. Good NBA picks.
Yes, we've been putting them on the blog. We've had not too many yet. There's been about 6 plays. I want to say we're like 5-1. And it's funny, the one loser was Orlando. It was, I guess, an arbitrage or an information play early where the game came down after the play was made, but then some wise guys brought it back later. Maybe that player, I always told you, the NBA players are very fickle. They're not like the NFL. They don't play hurt. They're always looking to save themselves for the playoffs. Not in the old days. I'm talking about the players now. So it makes it difficult, but the sharps know. They know who's playing. They know who's sitting. But they must have got thrown off on that one game. It's the only one that lost.
Okay, Jenna from New Jersey. Thank you, Jenna. Kelly, look at the camera so we can see your pretty face. Again, thank you, Jenna.
Good. Yes. Jenna, is that like your sister or something like that? Well, no, I'm only kidding. It's Brandon, he said it. You look at the camera, it gets foggy, it's so hot. No, but that's cute. That's nice.
That's nice.
That's nice. Yes.
I have to say.
How about me? One of our texts from the West Coast said I need to look at the camera more. And I did. I've been looking at the camera more until we get that teleprompter. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Brandon. Teleprompter.
Next.
Okay. Woody from Ohio. Ohio State will win championship. Will Ohio State win the championship? Or Ohio State?
Ohio State will win the championship. Yeah, listen, if you're right, I'll hire you next year. I'm not going to argue. I have them high on my list. in my top 3 from the beginning of the season. Well, let's say the top 5. I know they were in there, but don't forget, I tend to find sleepers. One of them was Tennessee, one of them was Mississippi. They're both alive. Tennessee's very much alive with odds, a longer shot. They have just as, right now, as equal a chance as Ohio State to make the playoffs. They both have 1 loss. But, you know, you're from Ohio State, Woody, and, you know, it's a bold statement, but not that bold. They're up there. They certainly can win it.
Okay. What happened to your Yanks? Laugh out loud from Johnny L.A.
Well, first of all, I had the World Series contenders right. I cashed that. I cashed a couple of props. One prop I'm going to miss out on unless there's a completely crazy change, which, you know, who could ever pick that, was Freddie Freeman. Our prop guy, Joey MX out of Vegas, has Freddie Freeman. And part of his thing was that I didn't know, and this is not a joke in any way, shape, or form. Freddie Freeman has a son, I guess, that's sick or going through something pretty bad. And it's a sentimental pick then. Right. And, you know, some of that stuff comes true. It's weird. You know, like, I'll go back to the year this New Orleans had the horrible, horrible hurricane. Who was it? What hurricane? You remember way back when
Charlie?
No.
Katrina?
Katrina. The city was decimated. Okay? What took them to get back, and who won the Super Bowl? The New Orleans Saints. And I said it. I said, when it happened, I said, this city is going to get a lot of help in a lot of ways. It happens. It just happens. I'm not saying they cheated or anything like that, but the gods of gambling or the people that want to see TV ratings, somehow or another, things like that happen. You know, and that's why I knew the Dodgers and Yankees would be there. I just seen it coming. But you know what I want to mention is they brought up the Yankees. Did anybody see that play in right field where the Yankee fan literally wrestled the glove out of Mookie Betts? The right field is off his arm.
I saw.
I mean, you know, if I was there, I would try to catch the ball.
Right.
And if I could catch it before the play, that's the way it goes. Nobody's going to have a big deal. But he went over the field, interfered with the guy, and not only that, tried to take his glove, which he did. The ball went rolling out, but the ump was there and called him out. But what I'm having a fun time with is, like, some people are so up in arms about it. They're saying he got thrown out. Okay, he couldn't watch the rest of the game. What do you want to do to the guy? That's not enough, they're saying. He should be banned from sporting events forever. If that's the case, please do not be on my jury ever. Because you would have given me not only the death penalty, you would have said give him the lethal injection and the electric chair. One isn't enough for him. I mean, what did the guy do? They are ripping him a new one in sports and the fans and the newspapers. And, you know, you got to realize, too, you go to a ball game, they only charge $25 for a beer. So you know the guy's going to have at least 8. You know?
Yes.
So,
well,
anyway.
And he's with other men.
Yeah.
And we know, women, don't we,
Yes.
that when you put a group of men together,
we tend to
be very immature.
Yes.
And
like
I don't even know how to. I don't even know women's math to be able to do. You can't average their age. The best I could give you is maybe a freshman in high school
well,
as your age.
Are you basing that on when my friends and I have our reunions? Is that what you're doing?
Well, yeah.
Because they're watching this show.
I know, but
okay. And all you girls come. And I wasn't the one biting the side of the pool, the cement pool. That was a girl. So let's level the playing field.
That's true. But you were the one on the bar doing the worm.
And I'm not the one that left my pocketbook with like money in it. You want to go this way?
Well,
all right. No, I get it. Come on, you're right.
You were on the bar
right.
doing the worm.
You are 100% right. We go to games. Well,
thank goodness
me and Greg Jr.
It was our own establishment. So
me and Greg Jr. were at a game at Madison Square Garden. We got free posters of Patrick Ewing. The next day in the newspaper, fans ripping posters on the court. They cost us money. We lost a bet that game. What do I want their poster for? So we ripped it up and threw it back at them. And we made the newspaper. We didn't get arrested or banned forever. So before we go on to the games, I mentioned it already, a little bit about handicapping. And the Indiana comment is perfect for it because right now, many of the games, let's just say there's 100 games on a Saturday. I was able to come up with maybe 60 differences. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's going to be less because it's uncanny how many games I'm looking at and the odds maker has it the same. And I told you that at the beginning of the season. They will catch up with us. And it's easier for me because they have to make lines for every sport, every day, and it changes and injuries and stuff. I can zero in with the team and look at certain things, but it does get tighter, and that's what's happening right now. Like I said, using Indiana, I had the quarterback at 7.75. They probably didn't even have him that high early in the season, so we were able to see it. We saw they had a good running game. Their defense was maybe a 6. Now it's an 8. They're not giving up points. But in the next 3 weeks, they're playing Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. Now those numbers aren't going to be overwhelming versus the competition. So each week it's a different ball game with the injuries. So I do this, like I said, every game. But the line maker catches up. Where we are going to have a banner season like we always do, every bowl season. I mean, we've gone to Vegas for several of them because I want to be there.
Right.
I want to be there and take their money. It's just, it's almost like, I'm not going to go that far and you're cocky. I'm going to find a lot of discrepancies, and I'm going to give you a lot of wise guy discrepancies. They're going to see it too. There's teams that just don't care. There's players that opt out because they're worried about their NFL career. The regular square guy that's just reading the newspaper doesn't know. If you're a wise guy, if you join Inside Straight, you'll be a wise guy, and you'll be able to get that info. But that's what happens with the handicapping. I have to adjust week to week. There's teams like Florida State. I started the season, their quarterback, based on publications, based on stats, based on other coaches, was an 8.5. That's in the top 15%. I have him now 5.5. He's barely above average. So, we haven't spoken about Florida State much the last 3 or 4 weeks after they burned my money the first 3 weeks. So there's teams that we get on and we stay on. Others we start seeing I'm still seeing it with Indiana. Even this week, I believe they're 14.5-point favorites. To me, it's too high, but they're going into Michigan State. Michigan State's not a slouch. They have good defense, but I'm tired of going against them. You're right, and I'm not going to go against them, but I probably won't bet them. They're probably not going to be on my radar this week. So, you're just looking at my hair.
What did I do that?
I don't know. You should look at my hair. Is my hair okay? I hope it is. Brandon's giving me thumbs up. All right, that's one thing that'll totally throw me off. I'll lose my train of thought if my hair's out of place. So.
Well, I know. The lights are bright in here.
I didn't get a haircut this week yet. All right, with that, I'm going to move on to the pros from last week because I said it. The pros, I'm a little surprised, even though I'm confident, and I go into this expecting to have more winners than losers. Football has not, it's tougher. It's a tighter difference. It's week to week. It's just weird. And, perfect example is one of the upsets the Ravens. How do they lose to the Browns? We're going to talk about that later. Because I know we had a question on that when we went over it earlier. There is a question about that, and it's a great time for me to talk about it. Okay, but the Rams on Thursday night, that was a total wise guy play. If you went on the blog, I even told you go to the picks. We mentioned it on the blog. It was a money line and a point spread. So it was a double bang. They were playing the Vikings, who just came off their first loss, but that was to Detroit. And the squares were all over the Vikings, and the wise guys took the money. If you would have been on Inside Straight, you would have either passed, lowered your bet, or went over to the Rams. I couldn't make it any clearer. Detroit on Sunday was an Inside Straight play. The wise guys, believe it or not, and I didn't put it out there, were on Tennessee. I probably should have put it out there, but I didn't want to sway. My comment was Detroit just had the biggest win of the season against the Vikings. And knowing their coach, knowing they're on a mission this year, I thought that would sort of get them on this momentum roll right into the playoffs. And I was right. They just blew Tennessee away. Tennessee wasn't even on the field. Beautiful pick. Green Bay and over. Green Bay won by 3. It was close to the point spread. Unless you were willing to buy points like I do, you were going to split that one because they only won by 3. But I had it. I caught the middle. I laid 2.5. I took back 5.5. So that was a good one for me. I can't claim a big victory on Green Bay, but it certainly wasn't a bad pick. And I had the over, so that was big. Arizona and over we spoke about in the comment. I don't have to talk about that again. Latest team with the ball, I said it. It was a perfect prediction. This was a real good one. Inside straight all the way. Chargers, LA Chargers, and under. Love what my numbers told me. Played out to perfection. I even said throw in a teaser special. And if you did that, it was a winner. And I also added Pittsburgh to that for Monday night, so you would have hit 2 teasers on top of your normal plays. It was a special. To me, it was almost like the worst case is if they're up by 10 and they allow that late touchdown, they're not going to lose the game, and it's going to stay on the. And again, I say that there's always a possibility I'm wrong. Monday night, Pittsburgh was an inside straight play. The wise guys came back and took the Giants. I opted not to tell you that also. Because I'm too adamant about the Giants. I'm never going to. I can't tell you to bet money on them. They're just a terrible team. Their quarterback situation's in turmoil. Well, it really isn't because they keep sticking with the guy that is just not getting the job done. I think they're trapped with him because of the salary and stuff like that. Okay, to college. Again, there's so many games. A lot of winners I'm not going to bring up. A lot of losers I'm not going to bring up. Some of them are lesser value. I like to talk about the ones where you got to understand the comments and understand the wise guy games as opposed to my games, and both when they're together. Eastern Michigan made a big comeback but lost to Akron. I couldn't follow the wise guys. I told you that one because I figured they knew something I didn't. Akron's a horrible team. They got off to a big 14-0 lead. Eastern Michigan came back, took the lead late. I was right again, but I was wrong. Akron came back even later and won the game. So the wise guys hit that one. You would have known it, but if you're convinced with if you're confident in what I tell you, you might have laid off. SMU, we had -4. We were right. They only won by 1 or 2. It was a real close game. The odds maker had a 12.5. And a week earlier, I said this SMU, the odds maker knows this team is on a roll. They are 7-1 now. 6-1 or 7-1. And we had them touted highly at the beginning of the season. They're playing like that now. But Duke is surprising. They're a feisty team. I just don't see it. Their talent level is not nearly what SMU's is. But anyway, my line was right, but I went along with the odds maker, and I think I'm going to have to start listening to myself because I think I'm 1-2 on games like that where the line forced me. East Carolina, big, huge, super big win. It started out a 3-star play, 3-goal bar play. The wise guys hit it twice early at 5.5. We had the game, I want to say 13.5 or 14. I think my comment was almost 2 touchdowns. So right there, it makes it 3-goal bars. The game jumped up to 6.5. So you had time. If you couldn't lay 5.5, I said you can lay 6. If it lands on 6, you don't lose. They win, but you don't lose. If it goes to 6.5, you could buy a half a point if you want. It's not that important. That 7 point is the number. Saturday, the game went to 7.5. We put out there, this is a 4-goal bar play. Early on, it was a bit of a struggle. Second half, they annihilated them. They won the game by maybe 25 points. East Carolina was a big one, won big. Auburn was a total inside straight game. I said money line, end points. They beat Kentucky in Kentucky. Real good pick. If I swayed you off Navy, that was helpful. I couldn't go against Navy. It's like Indiana. I've been on Navy way before the odds maker, way before the public, way before the announcers on TV are talking about how great Army and Navy are. I had it all season long. But that game against Notre Dame, my numbers showed it's a test, and Notre Dame beat up on them. So if I saved you from betting on Navy there, although a lot of squares just bet Notre Dame every week. Wise Guys gave us over Maryland, winner. Inside Straight liked over Texas Tech TCU game, winner. South Alabama was our pick all the way. I think I made a comment, it could get uglier, it's a blowout special. South Alabama won big. Under the Penn State game, we put it out on the blog. It came from the Wise Guys, and that was a winner. Ohio State won without covering. That was a bad loser. They just barely won the game, maybe by a touchdown, and they were like 20-point favorites. I'm just a little surprised at them. It seems like sometimes teams are so good they think they could just get on the field and win, and they forget they're playing teams that want to beat them. Wise Guys bet Colorado and Colorado State. I remember when they came in, I said, why don't they just move to Colorado? They love these teams. They both won. We didn't support them, or we didn't disagree. It was a game I just didn't see much. As a matter of fact, I added in the Colorado State game under, and that was a winner, under. I think
somebody will fact check.
Yeah, somebody will fact check me for sure. I added the under. It could have lost. So whatever. They won both of the plays. I added the under. Whether it won or lost, I forgot. Wise Guys took Wyoming, Utah State over, easy win. Washington State, they won the game without covering, so that was a loser because they were a favorite, and I think we supported that one. USC was a big win over Rutgers, and the second or first biggest win of the weekend, and it closed a lot of parlays. I got some phone calls thanking me on that from some locals, like a little buddy Frankie in West Palm Beach. He had a big parlay alive with one of our early picks. Let me go back to East Carolina. East Carolina made it a big pick too. It came in on Monday or Tuesday, 6 days before the game. They knew it was a bad number. Same thing with Hawaii. They took plus 2 points. By Saturday, Hawaii was minus 2.5 points, and they won big. So that was you said that was a great finale. I'll go through this week's pretty quick because you're gonna have to get online to get the real good ones. I'm going to tell you this, Thursday night's game, we don't have a pick yet, but I will tell you this. I have Houston -7, and the brilliant line maker has the Jets -2. What am I missing? The Jets keep losing. Their defense is falling apart. The numbers don't add up. My numbers have Houston -7. I still have Aaron Rodgers a 4. I might have had him a 4.5 to start. So I'm going to wait and see. If the Wise Guys take the Jets, I got to say they know better than me. But if nothing happens from now, know that I have Houston -7. We're working on Sunday. I'll give you these two plays that came in early from Wise Guys. One of them hit New Orleans -6.5 over Carolina. Another Wise Guy that I respect a lot bet over in the Baltimore game. And if you think about it, they're going to want to rebound after losing to the Browns. That's one that we'll talk about because I think we have a question on that. Okay, on Saturday, you're going to have to log on for these. We have a double bang on the Iowa-Wisconsin game. We have a double bang on the Minnesota-Illinois game. Double bangs mean something. I don't know. I don't believe I 100% supported the play. I might have mentioned that. But there's a double bang. That's important. Here's a Wise Guy play I'll just give you. Auburn -6.5 over Vanderbilt. That came in there. It wasn't a double bang, so I'm mentioning it. Log on for the ASU Oak State game. There's a Wise Guy play there, as well as the Ohio State Penn State game. I put an exclamation point next to that. That must mean we agree. They also took USC -2.5 over Washington. So you got a couple of comp picks there. The rest of them, like I said, the real good plays. It's not fair just for me to put them out there because we're developing a nice fan base now.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also have the games up for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
Not all of them, but
Yeah.
games are up for those days.
Games are up for tonight and Friday.
And also on Sundays, check the blog too, because he has been putting some plays for the NFL on the Sunday blog.
The blog is quicker. Yeah, it's if we get a game at 1:45, by the time I write it in and Kelly's able to put it in with the time and the point spreads, it's 2 minutes to 1. So on the blog, we could just write it in 30 seconds and you got it. So very important to watch that. We got several games. Well, tonight's game, Thursday night, we have a special on Tulane, Charlotte. So log on. Friday, the Georgia State, Connecticut game. There's a play. Here's important play for Saturday. The TCU Baylor game, NC State, Stanford, SMU, Pittsburgh. I'm going to give you a little tip on that one right now. We have SMU -4. The line maker has the -7.5. Same situation. Do I listen to myself or do I listen to the line maker? I do like SMU as a team, but I only have them 4. He's got them 7.5. He was wrong last week. But we'll have something on that game because the wise guys played it too. Coastal Carolina, Troy. Georgia, Southern, South Alabama. Oregon, Michigan. There's a play there. I got Oregon -7. They're -14.5. They're in Michigan. Why the discrepancy? Do the wise guys know something? Do they not know something? Log on because there's something special going on there. Tonight, we put a game on in the NBA. It's the Laker Cleveland game. You'll have to log on for that. The NBA's been, what do you call it? Not precious. The NBA's been real good. They're just picking winners like they got the newspaper. So log on and get that winner. And now it's time for questions and answers.
Okay. Since Brandon's still working on the perfect teleprompter, I'll read the questions.
Yeah.
Hopefully I do better than the comments.
Is that right?
Okay. Mike from New York. Loved the life. Great book. Is the mob still the same?
Well, I haven't been around the mob in many, many years, but I do run into people. Obviously, living in Florida, half of the New York mob guys come down, and I'm going to run into them and talk. There's some that I'm still friendly with. There's some that are understanding to what happened to the life. But to answer your question, it's absolutely not the same. It's, I'll tell you something Nick Pileggi said. He said what it was at one time, and it was never an honorable, great existence, like some of the movies show and things like that. There was always killing, there was always treachery, there was always greed, maybe more drug dealing today than back then. But there was a type of guy that would be in it and rise, okay? And he said what's out there now, it's like when you see the buzzards flying around the roadkill. They can't wait to get in there and pick up the pieces of what's left. And I thought that was a great analogy. I know a lot of the new wise guys that are out there now. Some of them, it's a total embarrassment to the mob. There's guys that got into positions and became good fellas that in our family, in the Colombo family, that were nowhere to be found during the war when guys were shooting at each other. Guys like Greg and Scappy, Junior Persico, Ali Persico, even Ali Jr. People think because it's the son. Ali Boy made his bones. He made his way. He didn't get carte blanche. Greg Jr. certain didn't. I didn't. Jimmy didn't. The guys in Greg's crew, none. They had to do work. They had to be what was expected a mob guy to be. And it's changing. We couldn't wear sweatsuits to meetings. We couldn't wear hoodies. It was a time we really couldn't sell drugs. I never did. Guys got into it. But there are guys, even my old neighborhood on Avenue X, it's an embarrassment to hear they have a button. It really is, when the only thing they were capable of doing was losing money gambling and selling drugs on a corner somewhere. They don't have businesses like the old-time wise guys. So, I could go on and on and on. This is like a State of the Union address. But it's certainly not the same, and it probably never will be.
Okay. Cal from Florida. 1 week till Election Day. Any updates?
Well, I didn't wear my red. I meant to. You forgot to remind me.
I did.
Well, the updates are similar to last week. I think we talked about the odds have swayed to the Republican Party. And, you could see why in a way. Mm-hmm. This latest thing that just came out where I guess they called people that aren't on their side garbage. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The worst thing they're called is woke. And I still don't know what it means. What does it mean, woke? But that's what we call people on the left side. They call us garbage. So that's scary because it should be scary for them because all those people in the middle that are going to make the difference. Because I said it a million times, if you're one way, if you're leaning that way, and you don't care about all the problems, and you don't care about the border and the high prices and all of this, and you want to listen to Taylor Swift, nobody's going to change. Okay? Mm-hmm. When I hear her say something, my first reaction is I wouldn't go to a concert of hers if she gave me the ticket for free. Who the hell is she to talk about this stuff and anybody to listen?
But I wonder about like her promoters. Did she just turn a huge part of her popular people away from her?
Absolutely.
She picked one side or the other. I would think as an entertainer, you want to stay pretty neutral.
Any businessman.
Correct. And for her to come out now to just half the country go, we're going to think twice about sending our children.
Well, there's others. De Niro. I worked with him. I thought he was I still think he's a decent guy. But he comes out with this blasting all the time and picking a side. It's too late in his life to care, and he's got too much money to care. But if he was just making his way through the 60s and 70s in mean streets, and he knew he was going to lose 52 million fans, he probably wouldn't be so outspoken.
Right.
Same thing with Mel Gibson. He's on the other side. He's very outspoken. He doesn't care. What are you going to do? Take away his $1 billion?
Right.
Or 800 million, whatever they're worth. And there's a lot of actors and stuff like that. But I don't listen to any of them. Mel Gibson isn't making my choice, and neither is De Niro or Taylor Swift. I want the borders in normal, where our cities don't have to deal with it. I want better gas prices. I got people with a lot more money than me that are complaining about prices. I know they have a lot more money than me, but they don't want to pay $4.50 at the gas pump. It's stupid. We shouldn't have to. They don't want to pay $9 for creamer in the coffee. And those things are not going to change unless the policies change.
Correct. Okay. Joe from Georgia. You two own a gym and look great. Any tips? I just joined a gym and am starting to train.
Yeah, well, we've touched on that. I like when we get questions there. It's goal oriented or driven. If you're a high school guy, I don't know your age or anything like that. If you're a high school guy and looking to put on weight or muscle for the football team, you're going to be what's considered a gym rat. You're going to have to spend a lot of hours in the gym. You're going to be that guy that's sitting on the bench for 3 minutes and then lifting, 350 3 times and grunting and sitting there for 3 minutes and then trying 365 and getting 2 and then, on and on. You're probably only going to do 1 or 2 body parts at most, and it's going to take you 90 minutes. Right. Okay, you're not going to be too worried about cardio. That's a goal. If you're looking to lose weight or maintain or healthy, what we do is circuit training, full body, where we may do a set of curls, and then instead of waiting around, we sit on the bench and we do leg raises. We get up, we do another set of curls. We go on a bench, we do crunches. Do our last set of curls, if we're only doing 3, do bicycles. Then we'll stand up and do hammer curls, which is a variation of curls. lean right over and do kickbacks for the triceps. Start bringing in triceps. So we'll do a few a few exercises for arms. Then we may do, Kelly will do push-ups while I'm doing, say, bench pressing. Again, because goals, Kelly doesn't need to be doing heavy benching. You know, first of all, girls have a different anatomy, obviously, so they don't need to be doing a lot of that. But it's more up-tempo. It's very energetic. We'll do a lot of ab work in between compound sets or supersets, and there's a difference. People think supersetting is doing bench press and going right to push-ups. That's a compound set. We don't do a lot of that. We'll do bench pressing and superset that with pull-downs. Back to the bench, back to pull-downs. It's very up-tempo. That's going to keep you burning calories, making a hard, defined muscle. So again, the bottom line is your goals. If you want to send me your age, your goals, I'd be more than happy to help you.
Okay. How did the Ravens lose to the Browns? Sarah from Baltimore.
Yeah, that's well, we could have talked about that a few times. In the handicapping, we could talk about it because my numbers kept coming up with Browns. Mm-hmm. I think I bet them 5 of the first 6 weeks, and I lose every time. But they're horrible. You know, their defense kept them in games. The other team maybe being let down, playing them, knowing they're not that good. And that's probably why the Ravens lost to the Browns. But I also literally destroyed that quarterback verbally. And I don't know, he's out, he got hurt, whatever. And they brought in Jameis Winston. I don't think he's the answer to bring them to the Super Bowl, but there was some kind of energy change. Maybe they knew this kid wouldn't make the same mistakes. Maybe when he runs, he'll get somewhere. Maybe when a receiver's open, he'll deliver the ball. There was just a different energy on the field, plus that's a rivalry. The Browns and Baltimore, it's a natural rivalry because they had to switch names. The Ravens are actually from Cleveland. But when they went to Baltimore, the owner wouldn't give them the name. So they became the Baltimore Ravens. After 2 or 3 years, the Cleveland Browns came back. And obviously they're still there. So there's a little rivalry there. And their defense is good. But it's hard when you're on the field all game trying to overcome mistakes. So nothing is that shocking in the NFL. You know, so it may look like, you know, from the outside looking in, hearing about how great Baltimore is. And I've said that. Every time a team gets all that credit, and watch, Detroit's going to feel it soon too, because now they're on this roll. And, you know, they'll get into week 13 with a 7-game winning streak. And, you know, Tampa will come into town, just barely hanging on for the playoffs, and Tampa will beat them. You know, you got to just, it's hard. So far, we haven't run into those. We've been on them right. That game turned out to be a very serious wise guy play. They all played it. They some took the money line. So to me, it wasn't a big shock. And that's probably why they're coming back with the over on the Ravens next week. So that's it.
That's it.
I think we have made it to the end. And as always, we want to thank everybody for watching. You know, whether you're watching on your phone or your computer, or you put it up on a TV like we do.
Yes,
you like to
do.
watch us on TV. But I think it's sharper. The image is sharper on the computer for some reason. So watch it on the computer, everybody. It's just as good. And don't forget, when you join Inside Straight, you're a wise guy. Be a winner.
Bye.